And welcome back to another Let's Play video. You won't believe what just happened though. I kinda went to the wrong castle. I went all the way to the castle that was, you know, past the mountain pass where Gura Vega was. I thought that Leofor would be back in there for some reason. So I just completely lost the plot there, and I was recording like solid 8 to 10 minutes of footage before I realised that, holy shit, I'm in the wrong place. So yeah. I apologize to myself and no one else. Good God. Good God Almighty. Anyway, I don't think there was anything significant that happened in the video that I recorded I'm never gonna upload. I don't think so. So we're fine. Anyway, story. Yep, let's line up behind the saviour. That's what you're here for, right? You know, to see the planet. Otherwise, yeah, why do you even exist? Eh? Uh-oh. This isn't gonna end well, is it? Uh-oh. King Leofor knows what's up. Please don't put me in prison. Does he have a point? Screw you, Your Majesty. Listen to the voice of reason, Celeste herself. Hey, didn't I just help lift a curse? We have chased him around a load of different places. Give us credit, man. Boo. I doubt the king cares at this point. What a stubborn-ass king. Well, not gonna put me in jail, that's pretty alright. Yeah, I can deal with that. No. You know, shit happened. Saved the day. I got kicked the fuck out. What can a savior do? The struggle is real. Is she the equivalent of a NEET right now? If you don't know, NEET stands for non-education, employment or training. I think it's mainly a British thing. Although it's also part of Japanese culture when you have the whole how do you pronounce it? Hikikimori thing. You know, the whole shonen thing that there's a manga and anime built around called Welcome to the NHK, which is a pretty good watch, at least the anime is. I'd totally recommend that. Anyway, back to story. The only solution, Celeste, is a heel turn. That basically means turning into the bad guy. Grandfather was a bad guy all along. No? Probably not. Nah. Just believe in me. You gotta believe. Yeah, screw you, Gramps. I'm gonna go kill some twisted priests. Meanwhile, very emotive there, Sandow. Ah, so that's what it was. A clone, a magic clone. Reward us in what way? Oh, fuck off. Leading a freaking hate mob against Vlad here, come on. Give Vlad a break. Sounds like a plan. And he was just being facetious. True that. Yeah, what are you guys doing here anyway? Yeah, I was gonna say. As you do. Well, what's going on? I'll just hang around all day and find out. Sounds like a plan. Sundown. Okay, looks like I'm controlling two characters now. Because two is better than one. So what exactly am I doing? Am I going back to somewhere? Has there been any progression in terms of enemies? I don't know, maybe they'd look a bit different. But I have a feeling I'm supposed to be somewhere else. I can hear a farm screaming at me right now. No, go back, go back. And you know what? I think I will. Because I remember this map was a bleeding maze. I could just pass by all the enemies. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's basically just backtracking, I guess. Backtracking in the sense that I'm revisiting the place that I already left from, which seems to be becoming a common theme in this game. Just saying. I don't think I've met these things before. Oh no, I did, I remember. Yes, I did. So basically I'm just going back to a place I visited. In other words, this is a Tales of the Abyss syndrome. Where's my dead mother, damn it? Uh-oh. Looks like I found her. Sandow meets his dead mom. Sounds like the episode of a sitcom. Well, it's not very funny, so it wouldn't be a very funny sitcom. That's gonna work. I'm waiting for her to say yes. What? I bet it's feral again, isn't it? No, it's just, mate, I don't even know. Oh wait, did I face this guy before? I don't think so, because Lifer doesn't recognize. Oh wait, no, we did fight this guy. Ah, I remember. Take a leave? Or is it just take leave? I don't know. I don't actually know. You people. So he's the leader of a cult now, or what? Kieran? Or Kieran? Kieran? Where you going, Balor? Come back here! No, I don't actually want to fight right now. Żałata. It was okay. It wasn't a huge amount of exposition. Plus, I did like the fact that I had to backtrack quite a bit. If we could teleport right back to the castle, that'd be pretty cool. Hmm. Wow! I did it! I finished the game. Oh boy. Okay, I have a lot to say. This is gonna go on for quite a while, maybe. Okay, cool. So, this game that I've been playing is called Dragon Fantasy. It's a game that I've basically masterminded by Fiam, and he was helped by a few others. So, it had a fairly... let's divide this into a couple things, right? Okay, let's start off with the basic premise. So, we had this one woman, her name was Celeste. She's basically a savior, called the Savior, and her job was basically to figure out what she was meant to do. She had her grandfather helping her out a bit. She went and found out about these things called divine relics, which she had to basically go on a pilgrimage to find. And in the process of kind of going about this little pilgrimage of hers, she ran into a few unsavory characters, such as Vlad, Vega, and above all, the mastermind of basically everything that's been happening in this game so far, Vero. So it's been in terms of the whole storyline, it's gone on fairly okay. At first, yeah, it was like super cliche, no lie, right? I mean, I opened this game, it's called Dragon Fantasy, and it starts with something called a Savior, and, you know, you just expect the worst, right? But no, I think the storyline has been fairly solid. We have some kind of clear progression in terms of both characters and story. A lot of the character writing has been very solid. In particular, I like the whole dynamic between Sandel and Life. I think it's been great. Celeste, I think Celeste right now is a bit more of kind of a figurehead, really. Something that the whole party kind of goes around, though. I think, like, if you go on TV tropes and you look up her type of character, I guess you'd call it a foil. Kind of. I guess Celeste really doesn't have that much character to me at this point. But I guess it remains to be seen going forward how she's actually going to develop. So I would potentially be looking forward to Celeste's own development. But really, I'd like to see more of Sandal and Life, because I think that the relationship that they have going on, even if it's like maybe just a platonic thing, I think it's great. I think it's been really good. Your I'm a bit divided about, because there hasn't been a whole much from him. I mean, he appeared fairly late in the demo as well, so I guess you could argue that there hasn't been that much time for Yor to really develop as a character in this short space that he's been in the game. That's fair enough. There was a bit of development, though, in the sense that you knew that he was a physician. He basically took life a hostage for a bit, which is quite interesting. You wouldn't really expect a physician to get into that type of thing, so kudos for that, I guess. And then he also had to face a difficult decision whereby Vega was basically on his last legs and he was calling for Celeste to kill him. Yor decided to step in and make the very hard decision of actually ending Vega's life. So that could not have been easy a decision to make. You gotta give him credit for that. But it's something that Yor pointed out that was a bit special, that, okay, look, in my line of work, physicians have to make these kind of decisions all the time, which is probably true if you go into, you know, your local A&E department. You probably see some fairly, you know, life or death decisions being made on a regular basis, so you really got to feel for that line of work, right? And even in this game, in this whole fantasy-like world, it's no different. So yeah, I can kind of see where if I am, and all the writers, I think the Zertopa had a hand in it as well, you can kind of see where they were coming from in that regard. So, I mean, again, give credit where credit's due. Overall, this character development, I think, has been fairly solid. Vero comes across as that very much, you know, what's he up to type of guy, like as per the Joker, the Dark Knight, and characters such as that, whose overall kind of end goals are a bit ambiguous. Now that's fine, because this game still has quite a bit of time in which to develop. Hopefully, we'll have to see about that. Vlad, I just felt really bad for Vlad, man. Everyone has it up for Vlad, and he's kind of a victim in a way, right? Vega was an interesting character, but honestly probably a bit one of the more cliche ones. That said, I did really enjoy his piece, his little kind of mini speech right before he began the battle. I thought that was pretty excellent. After the battle, maybe not as much, but before the battle, he was basically on another level, I think, in terms of speech giving. So that was cool. Got a very Game of Thrones vibe as well, which is neat. So that's my view on like the story and the characters and stuff like that. In terms of okay, let's go on to like music. Okay, using MIDIs from games, not entirely unknown games, I have to say. Like Oldiordos, for example, used that one theme from Final Fantasy VII, and unfortunately, I'm not really a fan. I know our views differ, if I'm in mine, but I'm not really a fan of the, how do you say, using music that's basically already been done before, but now just having MIDI format. It kind of, you could call it a cover, I guess. So I'm not really a fan of having these kind of covers in RPG games, which are meant to be played by usually people who know their RPGs, right? So I don't know. Personally, I'll be taking points away from that. If a Fire doesn't feel the need to change his soundtrack, that's more power to him, right? I'm not going to stop him from doing something like that, but I think it's just something to keep in mind that some players, not just me, might find the music choice in this game to be an issue. Right, that's it. The graphics were okay. They're fairly solid, I guess. It was the usual Mac and Blue fare of RPG Maker old, and it was nice to see that being used in full force, and pretty well as well, I have to say, pretty well. The only real complaint I'd have about the mapping would be in the castle, the mountain tower thing. Sorry, the mountain tower. That it wasn't a castle, was it? It was a mountain tower. I don't think the layout of that was great. It got a bit confusing at times, where we saw like random holes in the middle floors for some reason, and I don't know. Maybe personally, I think that could have been done a bit better. At least it could have been explained away as Giro Vega being a bit of a nutcase and trying to keep out people who were trying to get the curse lifted. Maybe that was something that was actually done. I don't know. It's a bit hard to pay attention to all these minute details as you're let's playing the game, but I try my best, you know. So anyway, yeah, that's one part of the map that I wanted to highlight. Apart from that, fairly solid. And finally, we come to the crux of the whole game, in my opinion, which is the gameplay. Oh, what can I say about the gameplay, man? It started off fairly easy, because I guess the FIAM had the kind of that idea that we should start fairly easily as kind of a roller coaster model of gameplay. Yeah, maybe that was something that he was trying to adopt, and again, that's fair enough, I guess. I think it kind of got a bit harder a bit earlier soon, maybe just a bit earlier soon. We're talking like literally 15 minutes to half an hour earlier soon. I think that could have helped a great amount, because the thing with RPG Maker players, or really any game players these days, you know, in the 21st century, is that we have this phenomena that is known as 21st century attention spans. So you might be the type of player that just goes in and plays a game for like 10 or 15 minutes and immediately decides in that first 10 or 15 minutes whether the game is worth playing. So that could always be an issue for a player when they come in and they find the game is too easy. Personally, I'd rather the game be too easy to begin with as opposed to too difficult. And a good example of this being SMT4. Oh my god, I'm still not sure what was going on at the beginning of that game, but there you go. But yeah, so the difficulty maybe could have risen a bit earlier on, but anyway, it did get substantially more difficult as the game went on. You could see there were points at which I was really struggling to keep my characters alive, or which I completely neglected keeping my characters alive. So you saw the whole issue with me trying to revive my characters only to find out that I didn't have enough items to revive them, and unfortunately the revival items were a bit too pricey. It really normally had to go down to maybe 3 or 4 battles worth of I think it was called Gil in this game, the currency. Yeah, it was probably called Gil. It came to like 3 or 4 battles to earn enough Gil to buy revival items. That, personally, is something that I had a bit of an issue with. Especially as the deaths weren't that cheap, but I guess when it came to points where, for example, the Creeper, I think it's called something Creeper, kind of did the whole building strength thing and it just kind of went at you, right? Like 50, 60 HP damage, just bang. One hit killing the likes of Yor. So personally I thought the revival item was a fairly significant issue. I mean, I'm just putting that out there. What else? In terms of good things, I thought the battles were... They were never cheap. It was never like instant death cheap. There was always a significant amount of, okay, maybe if you adopted a certain game plan you could actually get through the game a bit easier. And you could see that I was actually trying to do that, and when I actually did that, when I tried to formulate a game plan, I actually went somewhere in the game. At least I like to think so. I know there are quite a few deaths, and I do apologize to anyone watching the videos, especially if I am. For the number of times I basically had to restart from a certain save point, I had to work my way back through a certain point in the game. I do apologize for that. It happens, you know. So yeah, that was another thing. I think, you know, the overall battle system was it was a fairly standard RPG Maker 2000 fare. I do think for the most part it was well balanced. There weren't any major issues with balance, apart from the ones that I did bring to light, that FIM later set out to correct and even release a demo with these fixes included. So kudos for that and well done. And that was all good. And yeah, the very final battle was a really interesting one against Guru Vega, wasn't it? I really thought it was right down to the wire, but I thought the payoff after actually beating Guru Vega was quite good. Personally, I'm not a fan of enemies, at least not bosses, healing themselves. I just don't really see where that goes, because you make the player feel as if he hasn't really progressed when you're basically attacking, trying to lower the boss's HP as much as you can, and then you find that they revived themselves. I mean, they healed themselves, and then it's like, oh, not again, and then you just have to go through the same process again. So that personally is something I feel strongly about. I mean, fairly strongly about, not that strongly, but fairly strongly about. So maybe that could use a bit of tweaking. Maybe just give the bosses a bit more HP. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with that, because you still have the player of the game having that sense of progression when they're beating up an enemy and they're like, oh, I'm getting closer to the end, I'm getting closer to the end. So I think personally that's one thing to keep in mind. In terms of like weaknesses and stuff like that, I didn't really feel like I was taking advantage of enemy weaknesses all that much. Apart from when it came to the flying enemies, which was an issue before, that was fixed. You know, when I had like the certain weapons being strong at certain types. When it came to flying enemies, you could definitely scope out which of the monsters were, you know, flying enemies and stuff like that, and then just attack them accordingly with specific weapons as you saw fit. But when it came to stuff like magical weaknesses, I don't think there were many magical weaknesses in the game. There were magical strengths, sure, but I don't think there were magical weaknesses, so that's just a bit weird. Maybe I didn't see it in terms of numbers, in which case maybe that's something that I might need to work on going forward, I don't know. That's really up for him to decide, but personally I didn't feel that magical weaknesses were utilised too much in this game, even though you did see I did try to kind of randomise the spells I was using, trying to vary it up a bit. So that's one thing to keep in mind. What else can I say? Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we should call it a day at this point. So overall, yeah, it was a pretty solid game. It was definitely up there in terms of RPG games that I've played. So really well done, FIM and Co. I think you did a great job so far. And I look forward to see where this game is going. I do hope that everyone continues this game. And going forward, if there's any way that I can help in terms of giving a bit more critique or anything like that, please guys, feel free to reach out to me, because I'm basically always around, right? If I can't let's play all the time, then at least I can give some sort of criticism, or not necessarily criticism, highlighting the good and bad points of the game. You know, I could always do that a bit more if you want me to elaborate on any one feature or multiple features. I don't really mind. Yeah, please, and I would like to see you guys continue. if I were just to make one last point, and this might be a bit of a controversial one, and it might leave the LP on a bit of a sour note, but you might want to consider changing the name of the game, because I know it's supposed to be a bit of a shout out to, you know, the Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest games of old. There are lots of definitely homages going on, and even I can see that despite never having actually played those games. I can see that. So the reason I'm saying that you might want to consider a name change is, you know, again, back to the point of 21st century attention spans. Imagine that you're on RPGmaker.net and you're going through a list of games, and the title is immediately going to be one of the first things in a game that is actually going to grab you. So when you see something called Dragon Fantasy, to me, it was interesting to me because it was like RPG Maker 2000, Dragon Fantasy. This is going to be super old school, which is why I decided to let's play the game. So it was a reason for me to want to let's play the game. It wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be much of a reason for other people to want to play the game seriously. When I say seriously, I mean as casual. So I guess, okay, play the game casually, not seriously. I'm playing seriously, everyone else would be playing casually. So, in order to kind of grab their attention, you might want to consider renaming the game. That's just my opinion. Don't feel free to take it on board, feel free not to take it on board, that's just what I think. Anyway, I think that's about enough ranting for a while. It's been a pleasure let's playing this game, and it's given me something to almost look forward to on the Wednesdays, you know, coming back from a long day of work. So I do appreciate the opportunity for let's playing the game. Hopefully, if a new demo gets released, I should be able to let's play that. I hope I am. But yeah, again, the offer stands. If you need any more me to elaborate on anything else, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to come back to you. And again, I mean, finally, thank you to anyone else who has been watching this Let's Play. I think there have been one or two other people at the very least who have reached out in the comments section and told me about a few things, like, for example, defending helps a lot in this game. So, like, thank you to Max something for pointing that out, and thank you to everyone else who participated or even just watched this Let's Play. And I hope you enjoyed my style. Like, you can see that maybe I'm going for a more critique type style as opposed to haha funny jokes or PewDiePie style yelling all over the place. It's something I try to avoid. Also, I try to avoid stuff like reading out dialogue, because that's neither here nor there really. The watcher of the Let's Play can read the dialogue themselves. I don't think they're stupid, so yeah. Anyway, that's just the way I roll, and I hope I can roll like this many more times to come. But until then, this is Yellow Magic signing off. Dragon Fantasy by Fire forever.